What?
Why is your face like that?
Like what?
I don't know. What's going on?
What's going on?
I don't know. I'm tired. What's going on with you?
Sleepy, but I'm not tired. I'm just kind of sleepy.
Well, I'm tired.
Playing nurse for the last week or two.
Such is life.
So good.
Yeah. Such is life. When you're married, such is life. Anyways, this is the part 2 to my submissive video. Part 1, I said I was going to come and get a male's perspective on the whole being why people think being submissive is such a bad thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing. Sometimes you gotta be submissive.
Why do people think when a female is being submissive in a relationship, it's that she's weak? She's a doormat, like stuff like that.
Because that's not. Well, we live in a world that. Well, I ain't gonna say we live in a world. We live in countries, and we follow protocols that we didn't create. That's not our natural protocol, because where we're naturally from, whether you're African, Asian, or so-called indigenous, the woman has a place and the man has a place, and they got different roles. And there's no problem with being submissive as a woman, or what they call submissive here is a bad thing, but a woman being nurturing and taking care of the kids and stuff like that is not that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's things that I remember when, like, say, like when the kids was crying when they was small, and you like, oh, you gotta comfort them. I mean, I'm good at cuddling and coddling, but I'm not as good as comforting as you are. You are natural, because you're a woman.
I'm not talking about submissive, like a female itself.
Yeah,
being
but
submissive
I mean, all of that comes
to a
into
male,
play.
or a male being submissive to a female.
I mean, you could be a simp or a sucker, because a lot of guys are. A lot of guys are just, they basically females in men's clothing. They just soft, like they already soft. So
I don't see it as they being soft. If that's their
Not
preference, how is it them being soft if that's their preference?
Some of them are, some of them are not.
Because it's not only a female could be submissive, a male could be submissive also.
I mean,
it go both ways.
Yeah, anybody.
So I don't see it as a male being soft. I'm just see it as that's their preference. Like.
I mean, I'm soft. I just probably don't always come across as seeming like I'm soft, but I'm soft too.
Are you submissive?
I mean, at times, yeah. At times, like I'll let you get away with a lot. The most people would they will probably have a problem with it.
Like what? Name an example.
Like speaking your mind sometimes. Some people don't like people.
That's not being submissive. That's just.
No, but I'm saying I don't always fight it. Some people some guys is never gonna let like a female speak their mind to them.
That's not being submissive. That's just.
No, it is.
That's a female not being heard.
I mean, because listen, it's not being aggressive. I mean, I just believe everybody got an opinion.
Submissive in part of waiting on your spouse, your husband, your partner, hand and foot, like certain stuff like that.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. But like I said, at times, look, the last week that just passed, I had to kind of do that because you wasn't feeling too good. So what's the problem with that? That's not a problem.
No, I didn't say it was a
problem.
No,
I'm saying, but some people may have a problem. Like, I ain't waiting on him. You better call your mother or you call a doctor or something. Like, I mean, I don't think a doctor would take more. I don't think they would care. I think they would just their job. Some of them care, some of them don't.
Do you think I'm submissive?
At times, yeah. Sometimes.
Like in what areas?
I mean, when you want to be nice, you nice. You know what I'm saying?
What does being nice have to do with being submissive?
I mean, because sometimes maybe that's like, all right, so waiting on somebody hand and foot. When you want to be nice, you will wait hand and foot, and you don't. You don't.
I don't think I really weigh hand and foot.
Yeah. What you mean? No, you just said hand and foot. I'm just saying, like,
Oh, okay. Would you rather a submissive wife?
nah, I'd rather you be who you are.
Okay, but you wouldn't rather somebody who wouldn't argue back.
I mean, sometimes
What does
you don't argue back.
being submissive means to you?
Submissive to me, well, stereotypically, like a how they say, like Asian, like not geisha girls, but like, you know, those Asian women that just don't say anything, and they just walk. The guy walk in the house and they washing his feet, and oh yes, master, I do anything that you say, like a slave. To me, that's what submissive is, like more of a slave than they have no opinion and whatever you say go.
A
Like,
slave had to be submissive because they was beaten, they was taken advantage
some
of.
slaves are rebellious.
Okay, yes, some, but the ones that wasn't, they were submissive because they were being beaten, taken advantage of, stuff like that. That's why they was being submissive. But in this day and age, no. With a female being totally submissive to their partner, or a male being totally submissive to their partner, whichever one. Okay? Why is it such a degrading thing?
So I don't think it's degrading. I just think that there's times where, well, as far as my situation, there's times where you're gonna have to be so-called submissive, and sometimes where you gotta be aggressive or dominant. I don't even use the word dominant. That sounds like some like slave, like torture thing. But just, you gotta be aggressive sometimes, and sometimes you gotta know when to fall back.
Okay. So
Just
you,
like with kids, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you sometimes you don't always have to beat a kid or always have to yell at them. Sometimes you could just pick them up and tickle them, and they'll just stop and forget about what they, you know what I mean? It's, you could figure things out without always being aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
but I don't understand what aggressive have to do with being submissive.
Because I'm just saying, I don't really use the word. Like, I use the word submissive, but I don't really use the word, because the opposite of submitting is domination. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's on the other side of it.
Okay, but somebody could be dominant, but they don't have to be aggressive.
Well, I just use aggressive.
Like, I think this is the thing. Everybody just see it as, you know, like in life in general, people going to submit in general. You're submitted in your everyday life. Okay? But when it comes to relationship, and if that person is submitting to their partner, their spouse, whoever it may be, it's like such a bad thing. Like,
I don't think so.
yeah, I understand you don't think so.
A lot of people do though. But
Yeah.
like I said, I think it's because of the country that we live in the group of people who made the rules. So there's like they're where they come from cave. They used to, you know, they Neanderthal, or what they call a caveman, or troglodyte, whatever they want to call it. Their thing is, they come from a cold place, so they was a little more aggressive in certain situations. If a man wanted a woman back then in their society, he'd club him in the head, snatch him, and throw him over his shoulder. It was like the strong survive and the weak perish. That's their culture. We're living and adapting some of those ways because we live within their culture. They're the dominant force in the culture, and they what they do is what everybody else kind of start doing. So you seeming, or a woman seeming submissive, some people would be like, oh, why she's doing that? And oh, you got to stand up and you got to be a woman and independent. And then on the flip side, men is like, ain't no woman talking to me no type of way. They don't like aggressive women because we living in that type of society. But we was living in our natural society, the way we naturally are as people of a certain hue. We wouldn't really have a problem with it. But
What do you mean a certain hue? Because I think it's a certain hue that has a problem
No,
with being
now
submissive.
I'm saying because now this is years and years and years of conditioning. This is not who we naturally are. Like I said, if you look at culture, you look at the history of the people, you will see that they wasn't like that. You could look at the people who still living in their environment, not the ones that live in cities that want to be Americanized or British, like those type of people that want to be like the colonists or the colonial force or whatever who came through. I'm talking about the people who kind of live more the traditional way. They don't really have a problem with certain roles and certain women being a certain way and men being a certain way. They could coexist. But when you live in or your mind is Europeanized, you're gonna start thinking like that. And that's not saying it's a bad thing. That's just the way they are. But that's not the way everybody else normally was. But that's just the way we are now.
What do you think? What do you think the male role is in a relationship?
The male role, well, to put it plain, is to carry shit, to do the heavy lifting.
Okay, so what the female role is?
The female role is to do the planning and to keep everything in order, to do the light lifting. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes she might have to do the heavy lifting.
Break down what you mean to do the lifting. What does that mean?
I don't mean literal, like you taking it literal.
That's what I said. Break it down.
Right,
what do you mean by that?
Just doing, like, all right. So, instance, if you walking down the street, I should be able to. You should feel comfortable when you walking with me, or you in the car with me. You should feel comfortable if it's a threat. I should be able to step up to the threat. I shouldn't sit in the car like some of these guys that you're talking about that's comfortable being submissive, that'll sit in the car and let you jump out. And while they're waiting in the car behind the steering wheel, scared to death, hoping that you settle the situation.
Okay, so in your thing, a male in a relationship should be the protector.
Listen, that's what these is for. What is the sense in me having strength, or me having me being a man if I can't even attempt? I'm not saying to put ourselves in these situations so we could have to do that, but sometimes, yes, a man should do that. Okay, and a woman could too at times. That's
okay, so what about the leadership role?
I mean, it depends on the situation. If you got a better plan than me, who am I to not let you lead the way? You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, when it come down to the school stuff, you heard me say anything?
I'm talking about.
I'm just saying, in certain situations, the person that's qualified could take the lead.
Okay, so basically you're saying I'm the leadership role when it comes to taking care of kids.
Not necessarily, not in all ways. I'm just saying, I'm talking about situational. These are different scenarios. I can't name all the scenarios because we don't have that much time.
Okay, so what is the leadership role for you in the relationship?
Well, right now,
in general.
It's not in general because it's right now, because it could change.
Okay, I understand that.
So right now, my role is to make sure that the lights is on. Right now, that's it. That's my main role right now.
Meaning, like, we have a roof over our head.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to be broad. You can't just say that the lights is on.
Not
necessarily everybody know. I didn't know. Break it down.
You might not, but
okay,
but a lot of people
so
know.
break it down.
So yeah, basically to pay the bills right now. But then who knows
okay,
knows
but
tomorrow?
you're paying the bills right now because right now I'm a stay-at-home mom.
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's why I said
all the responsibilities of the bills and stuff like that falls on you.
What happens? Like, say, like, if I lose, like, I hurt my leg or I hurt my back and I can't work, and then you got to go do it. So then the roles switch. That's why I said it's situational.
I don't see that as being like a leadership role. I see that as you're playing your part.
You asked me what my role.
Okay.
My role is, and as a leader in a situation. That's what I'm saying. So in different situations, at home, you mainly gonna be in charge most of the time at home just because of the situation. Now, if the situation changed, of course, when you wasn't feeling good, right? Or if it's a time you're not feeling good, I gotta wash the dishes. I gotta cook for everybody. I gotta make sure you got your medicine. I gotta make sure the kids is because the roles switch. That's what I'm saying. So I gotta be the leader in the house too.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? It changed. It's not like it's not like it's a set in stone.
Okay, so in general, let's just say in general, not in this current time. In general, you see your leadership role as in the protector and the provider.
For the most part, yeah. But I can't say that you don't protect too.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just asking.
So yeah, because it's times where I know that like I know I got a certain way that I'm used to being in life, and I know I'm used to doing stuff. Sometimes I'm used to just going where the wind push me. A thought pop in my head, I just go. So sometimes I know that you want to protect me too when I do stuff like that.
I'm not that type of person.
I understand that. But that's being submissive and dominant too at times. But sometimes you could be submissive in certain situations. You could be dominant in certain situations. When it comes down to just spending money, I'm not aggressive. I always stop and be like, all right, I gotta make sure that this is there, and then I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I'm not as so it depends on the situation. I'm not as aggressive. Sometimes I'm submissive with certain things. I call it being smart, but it could just be being scared, or it could just be being submissive. However you want to put it.
About spending money?
No, I'm just using that for example. But yeah, I do that. I'm like that with that. Yeah. I would love to just have money to just throw in the air and make it rain and all that. But I don't.
First of all, I wouldn't take money to throw in the air and make it.
Nah, I'm joking when I say that. I would never do no shit like that. Just throw it in the air and let it blow in the wind. What I'm saying is I would love to just have an abundance of money to do whatever I wanted with. That's what I'm saying. Right now, that's not the situation. If I had $100 million today, I would still make sure all the bills is paid first, and then everything else happens.
But isn't that just your character in a way?
I'm saying it is. It could be.
It could just be your character, because not a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm gonna just make sure. You know what I'm saying? Like that could just be your character, because you have a anal thing about making sure all the which is not anal. What's the name? That all the bills are paid on time, everything is on time. So that's just your character.
So when you was working, right? When we used to live somewhere else.
Okay.
And it was time to pay bills. You didn't make sure the bills was paid?
Yeah, but I was not okay. I made sure the bills was paid, but there's a difference. You're very anal when it comes to.
Because I know that listen, you're home, I'm out there. Before it was both of us out there. Now it's one of us out there.
But no, that was before. Even when it was both of us out there
because
working.
I had a plan.
You were still very anal with certain things when it comes to.
I had a plan.
Okay, so I guess that was me being submissive to your plan.
Situation.
Because that's not, I would.
Situation.
I paid bill, but it's not like on a anal point of view. Okay, so that's why now I let him handle all the bill paying. I guess that's my area of being submissive. I let him handle all the bills. Anything come, I just forward it over to him, and he deals with it. It's not the fact that he's the one working. Only one working is the fact that he's real anal about it, I should say. I'm not saying I'm lackadaisical when it comes to paying bills, but I'm not as on it like he is.
And I mean, well, you never know. When time goes on, you never know the situation. You may be like that, you may not. You know what I'm saying? Like money is a tool. It's that's why they call it currency, because it flows in and flows out. But you supposed to control the current. Just like a river when it floods. The reason why they put dams and they put what's those things called? The things that the levees with like New Orleans, so it doesn't flood. You got to control the flow. You have to control the flow, because if you just, you know what I mean, like when it's coming, it's coming. But then what if it stops and you still letting it all go out? You know what I mean? Like you gotta control money. Money, you can't let it control you.
Well, that's your perspective on
Yeah, because
that.
I mean, it's people that I know, and I'm sure you know those type of people too. They don't care what happens, or they ain't say they don't care. They don't think about like, oh, I got a family at home, and I gotta pay this light bill, I gotta pay the water bill, or I gotta pay this bill. They not even thinking that far. They like, yo, I'm got money, I'm about to go do this, I'm going on a trip, I'm going with my friends, I'm going to drink, I'm going to smoke, I'm going to party. Whatever they do with money, they gonna spend it. And then when the light get cut off, now everybody looking at them like, yo, what the, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be that person. Now, if I don't have no money, then that's one thing. Then I have to use my brain or go with my heart or whatever first thought pops in my head, because listen, it's my job to keep the lights on. So,
Oh, okay. All right.
yeah, sometimes that's how it is, but
Okay. All right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, but yeah, being submissive or being aggressive or dominant, I mean,
I
it
don't know
just
why you keep
depends.
saying aggressive, because I don't
Because
understand why.
that's the word that I choose to use. I don't like to use dominant. Dominant just sound like a bully. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Why does dominant have to
to
be a
me,
bully?
I'm just saying. To me, it just sound like a bully, like
I think
domination.
I
Like,
think people needs to stop. The first thing they do is attach a negative onto something.
there's no
They need
negative.
to stop attaching a negative, because ain't nothing wrong with being dominant. Ain't nothing wrong with that. If the person is a dominant person, ain't nothing wrong with them being dominant. That's just who they are. That's just their personality. That's just what they prefer. There's nothing wrong with being dominant.
I'm not saying nothing wrong. I'm just saying I don't like. I said me personally, I don't like using that word when it comes down to certain things. I just said I don't, because of, it's just I like to use aggressive. Like,
Aggressive sound to me worse than dominant.
all right, but
Because aggressive is like
that's your choice.
What's the name? Dominant is just like
Yeah, but I like aggressive.
a dominant person is not necessarily aggressive. They just dominant.
Yeah, I like aggressive. Submission to me is a sucker.
And it shouldn't be, because somebody who's a submissive should not have.
You could be dominant and be a sucker too. You know what I'm saying? Like, but being submissive, like most people that's submissive that I know, it's kind of soft. You know what I'm saying? Like,
how are they soft?
but soft is not a bad thing, because you got to be soft when you pick up a baby.
But people submissive is because that's what they prefer. That's who they are.
Nah,
It's nothing wrong with that. They probably not soft. That's just probably who they are. But if they probably put in a situation where it's like whatever it is like that, they could come out of it. It's not like that's just what they prefer.
Yeah, but
they like to be led. They like to be.
I think some people are afraid to lead.
Okay, but not everybody came here to be a leader.
Nah, they did.
And that's the thing with a lot of people. Not everybody came here to be a leader. It need balance. Just like how not everybody could be a doctor. We still need somebody to pick up the trash.
Most of the doctors that's doctors now wasn't made to be doctors.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
But yeah,
it has to be some type of balance somewhere.
Yeah, but it would be balanced. What I'm saying is some people have the gift. Like, there's people that could sing really good, and they could go to the studio when it's just them and somebody they know there and sing good and make songs. But when they get on the stage in front of people they don't know, they get afraid, they get scared. You know what I'm saying? It's like when the lights is on, people freeze up. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said some people are afraid to lead.
No, some people are not afraid to lead. They're just not leaders. Because an actual leader is not afraid to lead. So you can't judge them or say they're afraid to lead. They're not a leader. There's a big difference.
Yeah, they don't have that leadership
exactly.
quality.
So it doesn't mean they're scared to lead. They're just not leaders.
But I would say this, in every situation, even if you are a leader and have leadership quality, you can't just jump in and be the leader all the time. That's what dominant.
Okay, yes.
When I think of dominant people, that's what I think they do. Some of them, from why like my understanding of the word dominant is, or what I would say dominant is for me. There's people that know, like, just say for instance, somebody building a house. They know they don't know how to build the house, but they just dominant. So they like, oh, I'm doing it this way and that way. And then there's somebody else that actually knows what they're doing, who should be in charge, but they don't want to listen to them. Like me, if you got a better plan than me, or you know how to do something that I don't know how to do, why would I try to take the lead?
It's okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
You ain't got to try to take the lead. You just got to hear the person out.
Exactly.
Okay? Even if the person is not a leader and they come to you and what's the name? They give you their advice. Now you take the advice and you leave with it because that person knows to themselves that they're not a leader. So they're bringing this advice to the leader to make the leader lead better.
Yeah, some of them do that, and some of them are just afraid to. They care what people think about them. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people care what people think. It's like they get stage fright. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I like to listen a lot. Sometimes I do talk. Sometimes I listen.
And that's just society in general, where people wants to be liked.
Yeah, but you can't. Or everybody's not gonna like you.
I understand that. I'm not saying no. That's just people in general. We all know you're gonna go out there, and not everybody that you meet is gonna like you. But you want everybody that you meet to like you.
Not necessarily.
Yes, when you really.
It would be nice. It would be nice.
Exactly.
I'm gonna just be myself and be the person that I am anyway. I'm a genuinely nice person as long as people is not doing nothing bad to me. That's just my nature. I like people say from being my sign or whatever. It could be that, but it's just who I am. My whole life is the same thing. I go around people that are genuinely nice people, I never have a problem. I'm around people that's aggressive, I become aggressive too. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's what they say, matching energy. I don't want to do that. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm not like, yo, if somebody say something to me or somebody does something to me I don't like, that I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking about, yo, I'm just gonna be a nice person, smile, say hello, whatever. But sometimes, and not all the time, not lately really. Now I ain't gonna say in the last, maybe like the last year or so. It wasn't, I didn't have too many instances, but during the course of my years of life, I had incidents, I had situations, but that's why I don't like being around certain kind of people anyway, because they put you in a situation where you have to be aggressive and you have to be dominant, and I don't want to just be that for no reason, because naturally that's not me. But naturally I have a thing in me where I have to respond to certain stuff. Like I don't want to do it, but it's just I can't stop myself from reacting sometimes. So.
Okay.
So sometimes I guess naturally I am submissive at times, and at other times I'm aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like the word.
And then it depends on who knows. Like people know you from different situations. Like say like somebody might know you from dropping your kids off at school and be like, oh, she's such a nice submissive. She don't even talk. And then there's other people like
just because I talk, that doesn't mean
no. I'm not saying you particular. I'm just saying that I'm giving a scenario. Like people would be like, oh, this person, they just get up, they just go to work, they just this nice person, they never, you know what I'm saying? Like they never did this, they never did that. And then you meet somebody that know them from way back in the days or something, they be like, yo, that person is crazy. They 730, like, you know what I'm saying? And you be like, yo, I don't know them like that, because you know why? Because
this video should have been alive because it's long as hell.
Yeah, you didn't put them in that situation. That's why I tell you, when you're doing long videos,